Hey guys, Jeff here, and today I'm at the church build, and I'm here to talk about my inspection report. In the last video, I challenged you to tell me why you might think I might fail this. Well, I got my reports in from the ESA and from the building department, and here's the bad news. Yeah, I failed both, but not a big deal, right? Because inspectors, generally speaking, are here to help. They're here to make it safe, make sure you got everything up to speed. So today we're gonna talk about what it is that I've got to modify in order to get inspection approved, what that process looks like. So let's just jump into this, all right? First of all, the building department came downstairs and he saw that I had the waste here and the vent and the cheater vent for this. This sink never had a vent before. So I added the cheater vent because I didn't have a way to get the vent over to this side to tie in. But then, because I was dealing with the laundry, had a friend of mine reach out and said, hey, they changed the code on this. You got to go up to 2-inch pipe. I was like, oh, great. So I did that, but then it was too thick to be in this wall. So then I furred out the wall. As soon as I added this wood, I made it possible to bring this over and tie in. And so he was just standing there going, so it wasn't possible at all, huh? There's just no way you could tie that in? And I took a look at that wall and went, oh my God, yeah, sorry. I said, I'm an idiot. I did this first before I furred out the wall and added the wood, right? So he just said, listen, this is okay, but since you can tie in, it's better, right? Because these little things tend to fail over time. So I'm gonna cut this today, bring it over, tie it in with a T, take a picture, email it off to him. So he gave me his email address, and off we go to the races. And he said I can close, all right? No harm, no foul. So before we go into the electrical, I'm gonna fix up my plumbing, take that picture, send it off, all right? And then plumbing inspection is passed. And then we'll jump into what's wrong with the electrical. So I already notched out the 2x4s that I put in, and now I'm gonna just line this up so that my plumbing line is resting on the wood, if it's at all possible. So we're just gonna cut right into here. Alrighty then. This is just a vent line, it's not a waste line, so it's just air. So I'm not concerned about the burrs. We're just gonna throw this on. When you're doing venting, there is no rule about which direction the fittings have to go in. All right. There we go, that will be nice. And then of course, we'll set this up while we're at it. Rotate the bottom so it's sticking straight out. Good. And then I've got my piece of pipe here. And it's gonna be maybe a little bit long. Yep, okay. So we're gonna just kind of guesstimate here. Boom. Save that for another day. Add a 90. And remember, when you're dealing with vents, you can use the short 90s. You don't need the sweeping 90s. There we go. Good. Now we can dry fit this. Yeah, it's about 1.5 inches short. Where's my tool? Okay, I don't have my handy dandy cutter on me, so I'll just do this. Laughing. A little bit in here, a little bit in here. Now, just because it's vent doesn't mean you don't want to use solvent on all the fittings, pipes and fittings. Water can still work its way into the vent system, so make sure you seal them up. It only takes a second and then you aren't gonna get like unexpected leaks inside your walls. All right? There we go. Visual aid. Now the pipe is proud, so it's gonna be a problem for my drywall. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna notch out a little bit more wood in behind it and knock that block out, and then we'll be good. And because that's an interior non-load bearing wall, if you take 1.5 inches out of it, it's not going to compromise the integrity. There we go. Okay, now we take a picture. Boom. All right, and I'll send this off to the inspector. Plumbing inspection passed. Honestly, guys, when you're doing work, get your inspections, because having that paperwork makes your renovations valuable. Inspectors will work with you to help make sure it gets done right, and then you aren't going to have any concerns about managing your sales of your home at a later date. Remember, not every real estate market is good for a seller, so without the paperwork, you put yourself at risk of not getting top dollar for your work. So my good friend at the ESA came over. I never met him before in my life, right? He looked at this, he saw the work, he's thinking to himself right out of the gate, okay, he's done a lot of this work before, so let's just look for any issues or defects. He found one, right here, this box. Apparently in code, I need to have this box, because it's more than 4 inches wide, it has to be mounted on both sides or on the back as well. So I've got to mount that box, take a picture and send it off. But you know what? It's not that easy. While we were talking, he also gave me some insight into the rest of my project. Because remember, the goal here is to get occupancy. So he told me 2 things that I've got to modify. One of them pertains to this wall before we can close. The other one is my kitchen counter area. Not the one I just refinished, but on the other side, the existing, it's too long and far away from the plug, so he wants to add another plug or remove the counter. Because I told him I was thinking of ripping it out. And he mentioned, oh, and by the way, welcome to my organizational skills. Pretty lacking. He mentioned if we cut this counter back to this post here, right where the seam is, we can leave this one intact and it can be serviced by the electrical at the other end and everything's fine. Now we're putting in new flooring anyway, so we're gonna get this ripped out of here before that happens. But the other thing he told me was about the bathroom. The bathroom behind me doesn't have a plug, right? How crazy is that? So he asked me to put a plug here. Now, I said, that's too bad, I gotta run another wire for that. And he said, no, you don't actually, here's the deal. And this is why inspectors are awesome, because you'll learn stuff, right? Remember I brought this wire over here for my pump. This is gonna be, has the capacity to be a 20 amp circuit. Now, I had it in my head that the washing machine needed to be on a dedicated plug. But the truth is, he said they don't. The laundry room plugs have to be on a dedicated circuit, so you can service the machine. But you can have more than one plug. So, because of the specs of my pump, if I make this a 20 amp circuit, I can also go from here to here, all right? And everything's gonna be just fine. That means I can take out the existing wire that I ran for this washing machine and I can put it through this wall and make a GFI. And that's as simple as this. Here we go, we'll take the teeth, we'll leave them on the left side, we'll slide this box through the hole, and we'll screw it in place. Good. Now we'll just open up the tab, release the wires from here, remove the ground, move the bracket, remove the staple, push all that up, bring it back through this hole like this. Also want this, right? Plus I need inside the box, we'll just trim this back. Okay. Linesman pliers are awesome hammers in short spaces. And then we're gonna just bend this through from the back side. And then we'll tighten up the cable from inside. And because the ground wire should be on the screw in the back of the box, it's good to have a process. Always do that when you put it to the box, and then you'll never forget to connect the ground. Okay, now this isn't part of my inspection for the laundry area, but by having a quick conversation and talking about my needs, he was able to help me formulate a plan for the entire occupancy permit, which is amazing. Now, let's go back to the dryer. Okay, we're setting that block back there. Gonna run a few construction screws. This is gonna be interestingly tight. just for good measure. Now the reason he told me to do this is because there are a lot of appliances out there like dryers and stoves where you use these boxes and they've got really heavy gauge metal clips. And sometimes you got to use a lot of force to push it in or pull it out. And because a lot of them nowadays are got plastic components, which is a problem in and of itself, having this mounted like that means that there's no moving parts. So if the box and the head are moving, there's a risk of something breaking off interior, okay? And it causes a short and that can lead to a fire. This makes it safe. Great to know, definitely worth the effort. Okay, so now all I gotta do is run this line for the laundry plug, which is gonna be a piece of cake. And then I will tell ESA that I'm done by sending him a picture as well. You know, the best part about this is, he's so confident with what I'm doing. He talked to me about my kitchen plugs, and that's passed. I just gotta add them to the permit. I didn't do it yet. I was gonna add it to the permit when I was going into the box, to the panel. He said, don't worry about it, okay? Just send me a picture of the finished work and I'll pass the final. I don't have to come back to the site for this. It's not worth his energy. Gotta love it, right? Remember, ESA, the electrical safety people, their job is to make sure that you're working safe. So you can keep yourself, your family, and whoever buys the house in the future safe. So, if they're comfortable with what you're doing and they're willing to pass your work, that's all you really need. Okay? Make sure you get your inspections. Oh, I don't have another hole to go through. Oh well. So make sure you get your inspections, because you might not just be, preserving the value of your work, you might even be saving someone's life.